You kiss your dog on the head. You call them your baby. You tell everyone, he thinks I'm his mom, or she knows I'm her dad. And honestly, for years, that explanation feels completely right. Because when your dog looks at you with those soft eyes, follows you into every room, cries when you leave, then loses its mind when you come back, what else are you supposed to call that except love? Human love, family love, something warm and familiar. But here's where things get weird. What if almost everything you think your dog feels when they look at you is not happening the way you imagine? Not emotionally, not biologically, not even cognitively. Scientists are starting to agree on something most owners do not want to hear. Dogs do not place us in the mental category of human family the way we place them in ours. In fact, your dog may not even process you as a person in the normal human sense. Not remotely. And no, that doesn't mean they care less. That would actually be easier. The disturbing part is that what binds them to us may be older than human love, older than language, older than family roles altogether. It may be instinct, a very ancient one. Before we go further, notice something small. When you walk through your front door, what does your dog do first? Really think about it. Do they stare into your eyes like a child recognizing a parent? Or do they slam straight into your legs, your hands, your clothes, nose working like a machine? That tiny moment says more than most owners realize. And by the end of this video, you probably won't watch that greeting the same way again. Because buried under decades of canine behavior research is one unsettling conclusion. Your dog does not see a pet parent. Your dog sees a creature that violates every normal rule of its world, and yet somehow controls survival. A creature that should make no evolutionary sense, but does. And once you understand that, 3 everyday dog behaviors suddenly become a little uncomfortable to watch. The first sign starts long before your dog existed. Back in the wolf. People love saying dogs are basically nothing like wolves now. Too soft, too domestic, too dependent, cute little house potatoes. That story is comforting. It's also incomplete. Modern dogs still share the overwhelming majority of their DNA with the grey wolf, meaning the emotional machinery inside your Labrador, your Golden Retriever, your Husky, was never rebuilt from zero. It was adjusted, tweaked, softened in places, but not erased, and those are very different things. Imagine taking an ancient pack predator, an animal designed for rank, scent trails, territory, silent social reading, threat monitoring, and putting it inside a suburban kitchen with plush toys and orthopedic dog beds. That's domestication, not magic, just relocation. We changed the scenery, we changed some responses, but the old operating system never fully left. It still runs underneath all the tail wagging. Have you ever seen your dog suddenly freeze at some random noise in the house? Head lifts, ears forward, body turns into stone. For 1 second, the goofy pet disappears. Something else shows up, something watchful, predatory, hyper-calculating. And in that second, your dog is doing what its ancestors always did, sorting the world into 2 brutally simple categories: safe social unit or uncertain external stimulus. Humans assume dogs first identify species: human, dog, cat, stranger. But canine cognition research keeps pointing towards something less sentimental and much more practical. Relationship matters more than biological label, meaning your dog's first question is not, "What are you?" It's, "Are you inside my survival circle?" Think about that for a second. That changes the entire emotional framing, because once you are inside that circle, your dog stops processing you as just another outside animal. You become part of the pack's working reality. Not a parent, not an owner in the human legal sense, a central social being linked to food, movement, safety, mood, and routine. Anthrozoologist John Bradshaw has argued for years that humans constantly misread dogs by forcing human family language onto canine behavior. Dogs adapted to us beautifully. Yes, but adaptation does not mean they suddenly started thinking in words like mommy and daddy. Their brains are still asking canine questions. Who provides security? Who controls access? Who is stable? Who is erratic? Who matters? That is the map. And this leads to a slightly uncomfortable question. If your dog doesn't mentally file you under human parent, then what exactly are you? Well, what they do when you come home gives us the next clue. And strangely enough, it has almost nothing to do with your face. It starts with smell. Humans recognize reunion visually. Face, expression, identity. Done. Dogs don't. Sight tells a dog that something is present. Scent tells a dog what that thing actually is. Those are not the same process. That's why so many dogs do something owners barely question. You walk in the door, they see you, and then they immediately start sniffing you like customs officers at an airport. Jeans, shoes, hands, sleeves, sometimes aggressively. Now be honest. If visual recognition were enough, why would that inspection still be necessary? Because your dog is not simply celebrating. Your dog is gathering information. Where were you? What animals did you pass? What food touched you? Are you stressed? Do you smell like unfamiliar humans? Did your hormone state shift? You are not just being welcomed. You are being analyzed. And this is where the "my dog sees me like a parent" fantasy starts cracking a little. Because parents identify children as social individuals. Dogs identify us first as chemical signatures attached to consequence. That sounds cold at first, until the neuroscience gets involved. Neuroscientist Gregory Burns trained awake dogs to remain still inside MRI scanners, something many researchers thought would never work. What he found was fascinating. Among different scent samples, the smell of the owner triggered especially strong activity in the caudate nucleus, an area associated with reward and positive expectation. In plain English, your smell matters to your dog a lot. A lot. But notice what that does not automatically mean. It does not mean your dog is thinking, "Mom is home." It means your dog's brain reacts strongly to the presence of a biologically important being tied to safety, reward, and familiarity. That is attachment. Absolutely. But it is primal attachment, not human role play. Have you ever worn someone else's jacket and your dog hesitated for just a second? Or come home after touching another dog and watch them sniff you like something is off? That hesitation matters, because in that tiny pause, your dog is reconciling a mismatch. You look right, but you do not smell right, meaning scent outranks face, almost every time, which means your relationship with your dog is built less on your appearance and more on the invisible biological cloud hanging around your body every day. Sweat, hormones, skin oils, stress compounds, environmental residue. Your internal state is leaking into the air constantly, and your dog is reading it before you open your mouth, which explains another thing owners misunderstand all the time: why your dog sometimes obeys instantly and other times looks at you like your authority has evaporated. Because your dog is not just hearing commands. Your dog is measuring certainty. And this gets stranger than most people expect. There's a reason your dog can tell the difference between your calm voice and the exact same sentence spoken when you're irritated. There's a reason they sometimes shrink away before you even raise your tone. And there's a reason millions of owners swear he knew he did something wrong. Maybe, but not for the reason you think. Dogs are obsessed with what exists underneath words. You say, "Who did this?" Your dog is not sitting there parsing English grammar. It is reading pressure, breathing speed, shoulder tension, jaw tightness, footstep rhythm. eye intensity, tiny pauses before movement. To your dog, your body is basically a live emotional weather system, broadcasting non-stop. Have you ever been silently stressed, saying nothing, smiling at someone else, and your dog still starts acting different? Clingier, avoidant, restless, watchful. That's not magic. Your dog is responding to the biological leak underneath the social mask. Stress changes your scent chemistry, your movement sharpness, your blink rate, your heartbeat, even the cadence of how you walk across a room. To another human, those changes are subtle. To an animal built from generations of pack surveillance, they're loud, very loud. Canine cognition studies repeatedly show dogs are unusually sensitive to human gaze, gesture, and attention patterns, sometimes outperforming even primates in following certain social cues. But this isn't just about finding tossed treats. It's about emotional predictability. Dogs are constantly checking one primitive thing. Is the central being stable right now? Because stable leaders create stable outcomes. Unstable energy creates uncertainty. And uncertainty is dangerous in social animals. So yes, when you cry quietly and your dog walks over, rests a head on you, stares, won't leave, part of that feels like empathy. And maybe some of it is. But another part, surveillance, monitoring. Your dog has detected a break in your normal pattern. You are different, chemically, behaviorally, energetically. And that matters. Which brings us to one of the most misunderstood things on the internet, the guilty face. You know the face, head down, ears back, slow blinking, tail tucked, body lowered. The classic caption, he knows he messed up. It feels obvious. It feels adorable. It is probably not guilt. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. True guilt requires a fairly complex chain. Understanding an abstract rule, understanding a past violation, understanding that another being is now morally judging that violation, then feeling remorse. That is sophisticated human-style narrative processing. Dogs are much more likely doing something simpler: appeasement, conflict reduction, tension management. In behavioral observations, dogs often show the so-called guilty look most intensely when owners scold them, even when the dog did nothing wrong, meaning that face is less likely a confession and more likely a de-escalation ritual. Your dog beside the shredded pillow is probably not thinking, "I am ashamed." It may be thinking, "Your energy is dangerous. I need to calm this situation." That's a very different scene, isn't it? So next time your dog gives you that heartbreaking, sad face, ask yourself, is my dog sorry, or is my dog managing me? Because dogs do not just react to anger, they study control patterns, and that means obedience itself is not as straightforward as most owners think. People love saying, "My dog respects me." Maybe, but respect is our word. Dogs are not philosophically admiring your authority. They are tracking consistency. That's it. Predictability, resource control, follow-through. Have you noticed how some days your dog obeys instantly, and other days stares at you like it's evaluating whether this command is worth taking seriously? That pause is not random. Your dog is not responding to the word alone. It is reading the statistical history behind the word. Do you repeat commands 5 times? Do you give up? Do you sound uncertain? Do consequences usually happen? Dogs become frighteningly good at this. Leadership to a dog is not a title. Leadership is a pattern. Who controls outcomes reliably? That signal strengthens. Who makes empty noise and caves? That signal weakens. This is why 2 people in the same house can use the same command, same dog, same word, and get wildly different compliance. Because the dog has built 2 separate predictive profiles. One means business, one negotiates. Be honest. Does your dog come the first time every time? Or only when your tone shifts enough that they realize this one is serious. If it's the second, your dog has not just learned the command. Your dog has learned you, your bluff points, your tired voice, your distraction habits. Which family member folds first? Which voice can be ignored? That is a shocking amount of psychological profiling for an animal we casually call just a pet. And yet, despite all this scanning, measuring, and calculating, dogs are not emotionally detached. Research suggests many dogs value human social praise almost as strongly as food, sometimes even more. So now we have a contradiction, a strange one. Your dog is reading your chemistry, reading your nervous system, managing your anger, evaluating your consistency, and still forming a deep attachment. So if this isn't parent-child, and it isn't simple obedience, what is it? This is the part that usually makes people go quiet. Because humans accidentally became something to dogs that no wolf in nature has ever encountered. An impossible animal. Put everything together now. Your dog tracks your scent like data. Your dog studies your emotional stability. Your dog monitors routine. Your dog performs appeasement. Your dog calculates consistency. And somehow, despite all that cold survival machinery, they still sleep beside you. Follow you into bathrooms, wait outside doors, search rooms when you vanish, panic when they think they lost you. Why? Why would an animal, this instinct-driven, attach itself so hard to such a biologically bizarre creature? Because to your dog, you are not normal. Imagine being a pack predator. Food has to be hunted, shelter defended, threats assessed, hierarchy monitored. Then suddenly you live beside a hairless, upright being that creates food from sealed containers, opens walls, controls temperature, removes pain, provides medicine, summons travel, protects sleeping space, and responds when distress happens. To a dog's nervous system, that is absurd. You are not a standard mammal. You are an outcome-controlling anomaly. No wild wolf has evolved besides something like this, so dogs had to build an entirely new social strategy around us. Not because we are mom, not because we are dad, because we are powerful, readable, resource-producing anchors. This is why dogs constantly look at owners during uncertain moments. Loud sound? Look at human. Strange visitor? Look at human. Vet office? Look at human. Weird object on floor? Look at human. That behavior is called social referencing. Your dog is checking the emotionally central being for guidance. In simple terms, you are the stabilizing center of the environment. And once an animal makes you that center, your absence becomes neurologically important, not just sad, disruptive. That is why separation anxiety can become so extreme. For some dogs, your disappearance is not merely, "I miss my owner." It is, "The regulator of my world is gone." And weirdly enough, this also explains why dogs often become intensely attached when humans are sick, grieving, depressed, or emotionally broken. Owners say, "My dog never left my side after surgery. He kept checking on me when I cried. She slept on me every night after my divorce." We call it unconditional love. And yes, from our side, it feels like that. But behaviorally, it may also be heightened monitoring of a destabilized anchor. Your dog notices when the center feels off, so they check more, touch more, watch more, follow more, stay closer. Not because they understand surgery or heartbreak in human terms, but because they understand disruption. And they orient toward disrupted pack members, which means those moments that feel almost mystical. Your dog pressing against you when you cry, laying on your feet when you're exhausted, refusing to leave your room when you're sick. Those moments are real. Your dog truly knows something changed, just not through language, through biology, through broken routine, through the signals your body cannot hide. And suddenly, the bond looks different, not less meaningful, much bigger than that, because your dog is not attached to the polished social version of you. Your dog is attached to the raw nervous system version of you, the leaking version, the stressed version, the scared version, the tired version, the calm version, the safe version, the version many humans miss completely. So what does your dog actually think you are? Not a parent, not a baby, not merely an owner. You are something far stranger. A biologically odd, environment-shaping, emotion-broadcasting, resource-controlling pack constant. A creature that should not exist in the canine rulebook, yet somehow became the center of it, their impossible animal. Maybe that's why this bond feels so hard to explain, because it is not exactly human friendship, and it is not exactly wolf loyalty either. It is this bizarre hybrid evolution never planned for, built out of scent, dependence, trust, routine, surveillance, regulation, and attachment. Your dog does not love you because it thinks you are another dog, and it does not love you because it thinks you are a human parent. It loves you because in its lived world, you became the one strange creature that consistently means food, safety, guidance, return, be, and home. Now think about your own dog. What is one weird thing they do that suddenly makes a lot more sense after hearing this? Do they sniff you obsessively? Follow you everywhere? Stare when you cry? Give that guilty face? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you thought this was strange, the next discovery is even harder to process, because your dog may be detecting illnesses in your body, sometimes weeks before symptoms appear, using that same scent system we talked about today.